to Experiencing the 3D PT Difference. I'm Gaynor Milkey, and this is Diana Schneider, a physical therapist at 3D PT. And Diana has spent hundreds of hours in advanced training as well as earning her doctorate in physical therapy. She is a fellow of applied functional science, and she has a specialization in women's health as well. So today Diana is going to talk to us about the difference that she has noticed and developed treating patients who need women's health services and rehab based on her advanced training compared to like a regular PT standard protocol.
I get a lot of questions about what women's health includes. Typically, that includes anyone who has pain in the abdomen or the pelvis, especially if it's associated with pregnancy or the postpartum period. That's when a lot of those issues start, but they do start other times. The other thing it tends to include is urinary or fecal incontinence. So people who have trouble controlling their bladder would be lumped into this category as well. Now, women's health physical therapy is also not maybe the best name for it because that's where it started, that's where its origins lie, but everyone has a pelvic floor, men, women, children, all ages, everybody has it, and it's actually the base of your core, which your entire body functions off of. So the things that I learned in my women's health physical therapy training don't necessarily just stick to my women's health patients. It applies to a very wide variety of them. So when I started doing my women's health training, it was not with the applied functional science approach. And one of the issues I had with it, I saw results with it, but a lot of what we did was practicing an isolated pelvic floor contraction, which you might have heard called a Kegel in the past. And that is a good starting point, especially for people who are very weak and have trouble turning on those muscles. But when I got into AFS, I started to learn that that's really just the tip of the iceberg. You have to expand off of that quite a bit to really train the pelvic floor to do what you need it to do. So, for example, a lot of people who have trouble with pain, they need their muscles to be contracting constantly. Those muscles are not like our biceps and our quads that only activate when we're doing certain things. They have to stabilize our spine and our pelvis even while we're just standing here. There's a low level of contraction going on. So just the Kegels doesn't really train your muscles to do that. The other thing it doesn't do is train your body to be moving. So not only does our pelvic floor have to support our pelvic and abdominal organs all the time, but a lot of those muscles also run out up into the spine and into the hips. So they still have to do their job while you're moving. So we'll see women who have trouble controlling their bladder while they're moving, so they're fine standing, but then as soon as they go to squat, sit down, walk, move, jump, run, those sorts of things, you really have to have a lot more pelvic floor strength and control, and so that's where the AFS approach really comes in handy. We can train those muscles by pulling in some of their muscular friends, we call them, so muscles that actually help and support the pelvic floor and how it normally functions. We'll give it some friends with some exercises initially until it gets stronger, and then we'll start to take away some of those friends and make the pelvic floor work a little bit harder on its own. And so that is probably the biggest difference that I've noticed with my women's health treatment since I started learning more of the AFS approach.
Wow, so it's more of a functional based and bringing in all those friends, so it's really very comprehensive so that
Yes.
everybody feels better, and that must make a big difference for people.
Big difference in the reactions I've gotten from patients where initially just those contractions, they'll get them a step or two forward in the rehab process, but now I'm just seeing them taking leaps and bounds and going much, much further with it.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Experiencing the 3D PT Difference. If you feel that you could benefit from physical therapy, take action today. Experience the 3D PT difference by contacting us at the number on the screen for a free consultation.